Ladies and gentlemen, I want to make 5 observations in this video in what I've termed as mistakes that if William Ruto will make, then that will put the legitimacy question, or rather, that will turn the whole Azimio mass action to be on the legitimacy question. Things can go wrong. And according to me, I want to make these observations because the whole thing depends on William Samoei Ruto. The Azimio team have notified the police and they've got the permission. They're supposed to be given the security and everything is set. And Raila Odinga also has made a critical adjustment, saying that all the protesters will go to State House, but they will take some few delegates to take the memorandum of the people to State House, while the demonstrations will be in Nairobi CBD. So they've made that clarification. And the whole country is waiting at how William Ruto is going to handle the protesters. That is the uncertainty. Because in the run-up to it, we have seen some few arrests. Student leaders were arrested. We have seen a lot of propaganda tools being here and there. Of course, the social media propaganda team. There is even another propaganda of Kalonzo flying out of the country, that he will not be part of that mass action. You know, there are a lot of stories that are going on. But to me, I want to say that these are mistakes that William Ruto should not make. I want to invite you to go to Citizen page and look at Raila return from America. And I made these observations after watching the 1-hour video. And those who were part of that protest, I've spoken to a gentleman who was there. They can tell you that for those who want to handle the mass action, well, the masterpiece, or rather the master class, is in that 1-hour video. The longest ever political trip from the airport to Oduor. I have looked at that and I'm just drawing my observations from it. That from what I saw, things went wrong. A journey that was just supposed to be peaceful turned totally chaotic. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell and like our video. Thank you very much for your support. There is one mistake that William Ruto should not do. That is mobilizing anti-Raila teams or anti-Raila teams to counter the Azimio faction. I have listened to the UDA Secretary General, Cleophas Malala, saying that if Raila is going to mobilize protest within Nairobi to State House, then they're also going to mobilize another team, another group of some young people to go to Raila Odinga's current residence. Of course, it is just a mere political statement. I am saying this because the other day, yesterday, Raila was supposed to have a rally in Githurai, and a group of some youths were mobilized and they held a daily protest and singing, chanting songs anti-mass action or anti-Raila songs. And I confirmed that the rally that was supposed to be held in Githurai, the field rally, never happened. They just did the roadshow. Then they retreated back to Nairobi. So I saw that strategy in Githurai yesterday. The danger of organizing anti-Raila team, or rather organizing some UDA supporters to counter the Azimio team, is number one, you are creating a confrontation. Because you need to understand that whether that team will be if they will be heading to Karen, to maybe for protesting in front of Raila Odinga's home, or maybe if they will be coming from any corner, you'll realize that they could have been, it will raise eyebrows, and the whole thing will turn to different people now creating caucusing. And that can then cascade. It has the risk, the potential of cascading even to the residential spaces. When you create a perception that some few people who are supporting William Ruto are going the other side and these people are supporting this side, you are creating us versus them. That's very disastrous. And that is why I even say that on the mass action, the point of cost of living should come primary to none. So, if you create an environment, a mood of us versus them, then the whole thing will turn to Raila versus Ruto, and you may realize that not even the police will help you to contain it. Can create a very dangerous mood. So that's number one mistake that you should not make. Number two, if you're working security team, don't allow the police to confront protesters like peaceful protest, like in their attempt of throwing the tear gas or blocking entry, throwing the tear gas. I looked at the 1 hour video, and I just realized that the moment Raila arrived, Raila came, insisted that he was coming to CBD and was going through Jogoo Road. So around City Stadium, for those people who know that place, around City Stadium, the police decided to block the protesters. And then they threw tear gas and the canisters, and they were depleted. All of what the police had were finished. Then the protesters were surging. So they moved and they moved. And by that time, Raila came out, and someone was telling me that, and I think a very good Kalenjin friend of mine, Kevin, I've never seen protesters like those people who are around Raila Odinga. Then I was like, why? And common practice here is, if you have a trigger to even try to shoot one person, you don't want to see that people disperse. But Aliniambia that in 2017, you could try to suppress a situation where you're a police officer, you're under the threat, you've shot one, but wanakwambia uwa. They moved and they don't fear. And in fact, he told me that those around Raila Odinga's convoy, when you wako karibu na gari, they don't care. In fact, if you are to kill, you can kill many of them. So, the confronting protesters, the protesters will be very, very peaceful. And I just want to say this. Yesterday, there was a protest by the Jacaranda team. So they moved Taj Mall, Mombasa Road, then came back. No one interfered with them. In fact, I was really getting interesting revelations from them that other people who were just selling mangoes by the roadside, no one picked even a mango from any business person. Very peaceful. There was no police. They did not pick it. They did not beat anyone. Then came back to Jacaranda. So, just leave it. If the only work is very clear, and this has to be said, if you were seeing that we are going to that protest to steal, to break into someone's house, then you must be dealt with perpendicularly. Yes. You must. Don't think. If you think you want to go there because you want to take an opportunity, some people say, I don't have a phone, so I'm going to. No. If the security forces are caught up with you, you should take your personal responsibility. Because the collective responsibility of that mass action is not to go and destroy someone's property. That must be what it is. Then, the third mistake is if there will be an attempt to block protesters from CBD. No, you have already said, Raila called that public holiday, and of course it doesn't exist, it's not gazetted. But I can tell you for sure, the business people in town will not open. Not because Raila has said it's a public holiday, but because it makes sense. If people are protesting mbele ya shop yako and they're talking about the cost of living, the cost of fuel and unga and everything, and you're also a Kenyan, then when you open, you can actually irritate the protesters because they will feel like we are fighting for you. If you want to feed the protesters, makes sense. Yeah. If you want to go and give them water, that will be in order. But so that's the reality. But then, you did not give a holiday and did not ban people from going to CBD. An attempt to create a shield that probably there is another camp coming from one place, another camp. Let's just make an imaginary people getting into Jogo Road, the Thika Road, the entry roads to CBD, the other one, the Thika Road, the Westlands, Wayeki, the Ngong team, different. If you try to make that, you create a suspicion. You create a suspicion, and people start creating stories, that we are not in town. So what's happening? Where is Baba? The stories, those kind of questions will start emerging. So, just let it be. Number 3, mistake. Number 4, don't stage manage destruction of properties to blame it on anyone. Because you may be shocked that I don't think within Azimio, no one has been given orders to go, and people are not busy with that. No one is busy with people's businesses. People are talking about the cost of living. There is no way it's dealing with burning someone's car or so. Anyway. So, if there is something that the security team must do is to protect those properties. There is an attempt, that's your role. That is your role. So, if someone is done, someone does something mucky, yes, it has to be explained. And within a digital age, cameras are everywhere. Raila Odinga's social media team, I believe they will be there. The local media houses, I believe they will be there. The international media houses, even the protesters are going to have their own phones. You will try, and you'll be shocked that maybe you are trying to do that and someone is seeing you with their cameras, or rather it's covering with the phones. And the best thing that people should do is you be on the vigilant. If you can be on Facebook, be on. If you can capture it, video capture, because there is a lot of propagandas going on, and that is my problem. The propaganda war, it's very murky. Lastly, and I know this one I'm saying because I know it's the least. Arrests, arbitrary arrests from the crowd. Even if you want to deal with Raila, arresting the Azimio leaders cannot suppress. Those who have said they want to deal with Raila, you can do everything, but arrests, the demos are peaceful, they have allowed arbitrary arrests. Don't arrest. If you arrest thieves. Those people who are going there to steal, and not even going, you realize that the people within town, mwizi ni mwizi. That is it. For the thieves, don't go for that mass action. The robbers, the usual thieves that normally snatch people's phones in town, that's not your space. And those are the people that police should deal with. That's my point.